A couple of videos back, Jennifer had a special for RV wives only report that offered some advice to those who perhaps are new to the RV travel lifestyle. Well, now it's my turn. I've got some advice for RV husbands. So now it's my turn to talk to those relatively new RV husbands out there, who maybe this is going to be the first year you've really done a lot of traveling in an RV, and you want to make sure that you and your wife get along. Now look, this is not meant to be sexist in any way. I'm answering these questions and actually talking about these issues because they're raised to Jennifer and me all the time as we're out there traveling. Jennifer had in her video some advice to RV wives who maybe were about to go on their first trips and weren't sure what it all involved. Well, it's the same thing here. I'm answering a lot of the questions I get from RV husbands about how to make sure their wife enjoys the trip as much as they do. How to avoid any conflicts. Let's face it, two people sharing confined space like this can strain a relationship from time to time. And I want to just give you some general advice. Now, if you're an RVer for a long time standing, I think there still might be a couple things in here that you can enjoy. But anyway, let's start. Let's start with the very first thing I'm asked all the time by guys out there, and that is about maintaining your vehicle and carrying tools and gear. Don't overdo it. First of all, the most important thing you can do is find a good RV mechanic. Now, there are a couple of points here. Number one, your RV, whether it's a travel trailer, a towable fifth wheel, a camper, or a motorhome, is made up of two essential components. One, the chassis or the engine part, if it's an RV, a motorized motorhome, and that's maintained from somebody different than the RV part of the rig. So in our case, it's I'm on a Sprinter platform. That's the platform for our motorhome, our Roadtrek CS Adventurous XL, and I have a really good Sprinter mechanic, and I spent some time looking for the right one. I found them. They're a Sprinter dealer that's not far from our home in Michigan, and they do most of the work on this. Now, sometimes I'm on the road and I'll find Sprinter dealers there. Now, that's who does the mechanical work for the engine and the chassis part. The trickier part for us are the RV parts of our rigs, and I'm talking about, you know, the fan in the ceiling, the air conditioner, the refrigerator, the plumbing, the electrical system. Those tend to be done by RV dealers, so you need to find a good one near wherever you spend most of your time, your home, if you have a sticks and bricks home. Find one, cultivate a great relationship with them, bring them donuts when they do your work, but get to know them and trust them for that. Now, that also implies that you need to know what needs to be done and when. So just like with your car, your personal car, have a maintenance schedule. Stick to it. These vehicles will run for hundreds of thousands of miles if you maintain them and follow through that. I'm always asked about tools. What do you need in tools? Not as much as a lot of guys think. Now, I'm coming to you here confessing I am not a handy man. I am not an auto mechanic. I don't know how to do much of anything mechanically. I can operate all the technology on it, but I'm not good at doing maintenance. You, and bless you if you are, you may be that way, but still, I want to tell you, you don't need to carry your great big huge toolbox. You need some wrenches, a hammer, some screwdrivers, but that's about it. I also advise that you carry some spare belts. In my unit, I carry a spare, actually I carry two of them, spare serpentine belts. Those are those belts that will eventually break. Sometimes a lot of hot weather, hard driving can wear them out. I've had to replace mine twice in 6 years of driving different RVs, but I always carry a serpentine belt. The last one that went out for me when I was at Yellowstone National Park last summer. I was in the mountains of Yellowstone towards the eastern entrance, the northeastern entrance, and it went out while I was climbing a mountain. And I found a guy in town, in this little tiny town, Silver City, Montana, who was able to replace it. But if I hadn't had that serpentine belt with me, he would have had to order. It would have taken several days. Instead, it took an hour and a half, and he had it on my unit. So carry a spare serpentine belt. And that means also go to the manufacturer of your vehicle's website. Now, mine happens to be a Road Trek. I go to roadtrek.com. They have manuals online, always updated on all their models. Whatever manufacturer you have, get to know their website. Chances are you can find the manuals for yours that are updated as well. Know their service number. It helps to have to belong to one of those road clubs. Good Sam is a good one. The FMCA has their own. There are a number of RV clubs out there that will give you maintenance on the road. Do some research, be a part of that, and check your insurance company. Many times your insurance company gives you road service, so you don't need to get that duplicate thing. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is don't obsess on maintenance and tools. Yeah, it might be your hobby. You might like tinkering with them, like my friend Camp Skunk. That's great. That's great. But I'm not, and I just want to give you the peace of mind that if you got a good mechanic and a good RV dealer, you're going to be all right. That leads to a question: what do you do if you break down on the road? Well, you have to have a little patience. If you can't find an RV dealer that you can immediately get in, here's the secret that we've used several times on the road. Because most RV dealers, particularly during the peak summer season, are booked up. You call them with the problem, you're not going to get in for several weeks. So what I do is I call RV mobile services. Most areas have an RV repair mobile service. This is typically a guy, he's probably worked in an RV shop for a while, he starts his own business, he's got his own van, he sees these things all the time. Whether it's air conditioning problems, plumbing problems, electrical problems, chances are these RV mobile mechanics that you can call that'll come right to your website can do as good or a better job than many RV dealers. Plus you can get them. So do a little research when you're there. Usually you'll find in any campground there'll be a little card, a business card on a bulletin board or a flyer from a local RV mechanic. And don't be hesitant to try them. I've had great luck with them. They're very responsive. They come right to your campsite. Can't be any more convenient. So that's maintenance and tools. Just a broad discussion, but don't obsess with it. These things are pretty reliable. That takes us to our second area. Okay guys, clothing. And this has to do with maybe getting along with your wife a little bit. Don't overpack, particularly as you're starting off. You think you need to have a new outfit every day. Now guys, I'm not saying you should wear your underwear inside out so you can get a couple more days use of it. No, I'm not talking about that. You need a minimum of 3 days worth of clothes, underwear, your shirts and your shorts or your pants, whatever the conditions are with the weather that you need to have clothing for. That's your minimum, but your maximum is 5 days. You do not need to take wardrobes for 10 days. I do carry in my little wardrobe on the RV, I carry a sport coat, just like a little blazer. I carry a pair of dress khakis. They're not real dress slacks, but they look appropriate to go to church, or if there's an event you're invited to, you got to dress a little better. And I have a tie. Yes, I wear a tie maybe 3 times a year, that's it. But I have one in the RV. And then I always have a pair of jeans, and I have a couple pair of shorts, a bathing suit, you know, and some t-shirts and short sleeve shirts, because most of the travel I do is in warm weather. A windbreaker, a good windbreaker you need. If you're traveling in cold weather, you need a little warmer coat, but a windbreaker and a sweatshirt, that's about it. That's about it. So don't overpack. Now, your wife may want to bring more clothes, and you'll work that out after a couple of trips. So don't come down on your wife and say, you can't take any more than 5 days. Let her take what she wants. You remember, sometimes we men are a little more enthusiastic about this lifestyle than our wives are as we start off. That's not true. I'm not being sexist here. It's different. You know, everybody's a little different, but generally that's what I have found. So go easy on her. Let her bring what she wants. But clothing, minimum of 3 days, no more than 5. And you'll do laundry on the road, or you'll find different ways to handle it. Now, I want to take you to something else on the road that's important. Don't buy a bunch of stuff. You don't have a lot of room in an RV. I don't care if you got a Class A or a camper van or a little camper, a pop-up teardrop tow behind. You don't have a lot of room. So be disciplined when you're out there on the road buying stuff. That said, don't think you can't get it. Almost anything you want to buy, you could ship back. I ship stuff home all the time if we find souvenirs. I think we found a great place in Weewahitchka, Florida. It's in the lower panhandle, towards the middle of the state. They make the best honey I've ever seen, Tupelo honey, which is absolutely the best. And we bought big jugs of that stuff, great from these guys. But I didn't want to carry it around, so we had it shipped to our home. It's not a problem. So you can buy stuff, but remember that you have limited space, and on a long trip, if you start buying a lot of souvenirs and stuff, there's no place to put it. So if you really want it, you really need it, it's a good deal, buy it, ship it home, or ship it to an address where you can get it, or somebody can hold it for you until you get home. So that's on buying stuff. Now, let's go on one more topic, and this has to do, we'll put this under the topic of relational advice, okay? And this is the question that men will come up and they'll quietly ask me, you know, I'm not sure my wife really likes this. How do I ease her into it? Well, the first thing I want to do is start slow. Start slow. Just like when you dated her, you wooed her, right? You took your time. Well, do the same thing with RVing. Don't plan a 6-week trip for your first trip. Try a couple of nice little outings. What does your wife like to do? Is she an antiquer? Does she like to look around for art? Does she just like to explore little towns? What does she like to do? Plan your trips to meet those needs, that she can ease into it. And as far as staying the first couple of times in an RV, it's confusing. You got to work out where everybody sleeps and how you sleep and where you store stuff and who gets up first and all that kind of stuff. Work into that slowly. So take a couple of short trips. One of the things I suggest for new RVers, brand new RVers, is sleep in your driveway one night. Maybe the first time you bring it home or as you're starting up, sleep in your driveway. Learn how the bed works, what's comfortable, how you get it level and all that, the way you want it, and let her ease into it that way. Don't take her out boondocking 50 miles from the nearest civilization on your first trip. You want to work to that because that's really fun out there, but don't do that. And don't take her on your first trip to a Walmart parking lot. I'm sorry. There's nothing remotely fun about camping in a Walmart parking lot. First of all, you can't really camp there. That means don't take out your chairs and all that stuff. But it's noisy. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of light. I mean, why would anybody want to stay there? That's not to say you won't. You won't as you get going, because you may be going from a destination to a destination, get a long day of driving, and you can just stop for a few hours, get some sleep, and then move on without paying anything. But don't make a Walmart your destination. And that takes me to maybe the most important thing at all. And that's what regular listeners of the podcast or the blog or here on YouTube will know. And that is really important, my 3:30 rule. Don't be so competitive with yourself that you got to drive 800 miles on your first trip, or 700 miles a day. Or last night I did 520 yesterday and I want to do 600 today. Guys, that's not what this lifestyle is all about. There are times when maybe you'll have a great time someplace and you'll spend a little more time and you got to get home for work or for a commitment, and you do have to drive long and hard, but those should be very rare. We try and plan our trips, and the operative word here is try. We're not always successful, I admit, but we try and plan our trips so that I drive no more than 330 miles in a single day, or I stop by 3:30 in the afternoon. That way we've got time to relax, to sit around, to do some exploring, to see the area that we're spending the night in, but try not to overdrive. So many of us get so competitive that we miss the best stuff along the route because we're driving those interstates trying to get someplace really quick. It isn't the destination, It's the journey. Remember that. It isn't the destination, it's the journey. And that means taking your time. Try and get off the freeways, the interstates, as much as you can. Take 2-lane roads. Ask your wife or your traveling companion, what do you want to stop? You see anything you want to stop at? Be sure and make regular breaks. Try and get out and walk around at least every hour and a half. If you want your partner to drive while you're driving, set up a rule that we'll drive 100 miles each or 150 miles each, and then we'll switch. That's a great way. And then if you do 2 stints of that, you can cover, well, you end up covering 600 miles. But that's driving way too much. So don't think that, hey, I only had to drive twice today, I'm going to drive longer. We'll each drive twice. That's not how you get along with that. You want to cut that limit to 3:30 in the afternoon or 330 miles. Last area, a sensitive area. But I'm saying this because a lot of women have raised this to me. And that is, guys, take care of yourself. Stay clean. Shave. Wash your hair. I know you're on vacation, and many of us, are roughing it. We think we're roughing it out there, but you're traveling with somebody else. So practice personal hygiene. I had one woman come up to me at an RV show and says the thing she hates most about RVing is how bad her husband smells. And I said, well, have you ever told him that? And she said, no, I've never told him that. And I said, well, tell him. You want to enjoy this trip, and so take care of yourself. Take a shower. Don't wear the same clothes 3 and 4 days in a row. And that leads me to this last part of this, which is still pretty sensitive, and that is, okay, you're on a vacation, I get that, but you can't live every day as if you're on a vacation. If you're on a long RV trip, you got to have some common sense about what you put in your body, what you eat, and what you drink. I think some of the saddest things I have seen out there are people who become much too partying. They think that this is a 3-week party. And I've had women come up to me often and say, my husband doesn't drink much at home, but on the road he's always drinking, and I don't like that. As well, she shouldn't. You want this to be a fun lifestyle, so make it somewhat healthy. That doesn't mean that you can't have a beer at the end of the day or a glass of wine. I'm not talking that. You know what I'm talking about. And it's not every one of you. It's a few of you. Don't overindulge in food or alcohol. And you want this to be fun, and that isn't fun. And don't tell me you think it's fun. It's not. So there you go. I guess in terms of getting along with your spouse, I heard a marriage counselor at our church once speak, and he had a phrase. I guess in these days it's probably a sexist phrase, but I think he's right, and what he meant by it certainly is commendable. His phrase was to guys, just be nice to the girl. And that's the way to be. Be nice to the girl. Don't get frustrated. Enjoy it. Take things as they come. There will be setbacks. There'll be mechanical breakdowns. There'll be rainstorms. You won't be able to do everything you want to do. That's just life. But you're on the road. You've got some control. You're in your RV. You're going to have a great time. All right. That's a lot of talking. 20 minutes worth almost. I hope it's helpful to some of you. I know, ladies, a number of you have asked me to say these things to men, so I have said them. Guys, don't get mad at me. I've made many of these mistakes I'm trying to get you not to make. But the whole point of this is supposed to be a great lifestyle. So go out there and make it fun. Hey, I hope it's been helpful for you. Do me a favor and subscribe, would you? Subscribe to this YouTube RV Lifestyle channel. You can just click that button over there and it will help you then be notified when we have new videos online. I'm Mike Wendland. Thank you for watching.